I guess test 1, 2, 3. Okay. So let me start by saying this. The intention of this podcast was to be, somewhat restrictive is the wrong word, but scheduled. Scheduled is definitely the word to be used there. Where we understand on XYZ date we're gonna be posting this and we're gonna be posting that. That's my door closing in the background. Alright, buddy? Yeah, but I realize that my life is pretty sporadic to some extent. And as of right now, I think I'd much rather just post when something comes to mind. Now, I think everybody has random thoughts every day. Maybe every minute, every hour, every 2 hours, every week, whatever. And it's very similar to me, where some things I think might be a bit more compelling to share versus just, I wonder if that rice in your fridge still good. Random. But on today's episode, definitely sponsored by TDSK Production, Bedroom Audio Engineer. Just to update you all quick before I actually get into the message, the meat of the message is that we actually have the podcast live not live, sorry, but technically live on all streaming platforms. So if you wanted to listen to it on, not all, I'm lying, Spotify. Only Spotify for now. So if you wanted to, just drive to work, ride your bike, work out, do your yoga, go on a little hike or something, and just wanted something to listen to a Trini voice, you can tune in to me at the Unknownknoww podcast on Spotify. I'll figure out the others after Apple Music and all the whatever down the line. But for now, it's just Spotify. Anywho's, so the meat of the message today is that everybody is no different than anybody. What does that mean? The president of the country was once a baby. The prime minister of the country was once a baby. The chief of medical services was once a baby. The janitorial services, those people who pick up your trash, who clean out the schools, who clean out your work, who help you around the house, all these different stuff. They were once babies. The gunmen, strange, the gunmen in the community were once babies. The doctors, the lawyers, the economists, the public servants, everybody or everybody's were once children. And what does that mean? They needed people to take care of them. Be it their parents, their granny, grandpa, their uncle, their auntie, even in some instances their brother or sister would have been responsible for taking care of them. And I guess as adults we think of taking care of, let me buy you some food, let me talk to you a little bit, let me just make sure you're good. But the fact of taking care is, at one point, this prime minister had to get his pamper or her pamper changed. They needed somebody to hold them, lift them up because they were crying on the ground, because they pulled down a curtain and make some mess because they knocked down a glass. Because they probably lied to their parents because they want to lie with their friends. They had a random girlfriend or a random boyfriend and nobody knows about now. Like, these are individuals. We are all humans at the end of the day. And for some reason, I don't think it's me alone, but for some reason, I think that a lot of people believe that because these once a child figure is such a weird too, but once these children are no longer children, they are now accountable on a different level, as if they are invincible or if they should know everything. So I live currently in Trinidad and Tobago, where the prime minister of the country is Keith Christopher Rowley. And this could be, somewhat due to the advent of social media. But people hold this guy, well, even the opposition, I don't want to keep it restricted. People hold these members of parliament in such high esteem as if they can't be human, which is insane. You really need to think of it. These people running the country, they are no different to you and I. Keith Rowley, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, Stuart Young, whoever, all of these people would have grown up maybe similar to us, maybe different to some extent, but irrespective, they would have gone to secondary school, be it private or public. They would have had friends, they probably played football, they probably play cricket, chess, maybe World of Warcraft at some point in time, beta, no, not data, Dota, World of Warcraft, break up the Dota people. They probably would have played Minecraft. They probably had a Game Boy, a Nintendo 65, 64. What is going on with me tonight? A PlayStation 1, a PSP, a Game Boy, whatever. These would have been regular schmegular people at one point in time. And even up to now, they're still regular schmegular people. However, I guess the title brings a certain air of, oh no, this person is supposed to be perfect. And though I could understand to some extent that because you are no longer in a position of just regular, but in a position of public, I don't know the word to use there, public figure, right? You're responsible for not just yourself and your family, but also for the well-being of the nation, the well-being of the people coming up under you, the 1-year-olds and the 2-month-olds and the 60-year-old, the 65 years old, the 80 years. You are responsible for them to some extent. But nonetheless, these are still individuals. These are still just regular humans who have to follow a set of rules and, base their judgment off of not only their opinion, but the opinion of themselves and maybe 2 or 3 or 10 or even 15 or even 20 other people around them. And I want people to understand that Kamala is no different to the Princess Margaret. Dr. Kid Rowley is no different to a young brother. And if we could just realize that and treat each other with that type of respect and understanding, I think we would do so much better, not only as individuals, but as a nation. And this isn't even limited to Trinidad and Tobago, like Brogard in Jamaica, my place too. You know what I mean? Joe Biden, although he's not there no more. If everybody just thought of each other as, yo, this guy was once a child, bro, it would be so different. I think our conversations would be different. We'd have a lot more respect for each other. And I mean, I know at the end of the day that the goal for a lot of people is power and money and whatever. But the other thing that we need to realize is that, once you get a certain age, none of that shit matters. You could be a millionaire, you're still gonna die and leave back probably millions. You could be just a thousandaire, just living paycheck to paycheck, you die and somebody else would continue living paycheck to paycheck. You could be a multi-billionaire and die and leave billions, if not to you and your family, like to some organization or some trust or something to that extent. And once, at least to me, I realize that, we are just here for a portion of time, it changes a lot. Your approach to things are a lot different. So me, for instance, like, I don't believe in arguing. I believe in constructive criticism. I believe in having conversations. I believe in agreeing. I believe in disagreeing. I believe in differences of opinions. But to say, I am going to argue with you about why you should see something my way, that is impossible. That is nonsensical. The other thing we have to consider, right, and again, these are just random thoughts I was thinking about today, is that the world is run on people's opinions. What does that mean? Osama bin Laden. People thought, and I'm going to say people because it wasn't limited to George W. Bush, but people thought that this guy had weapons of mass destruction. So they decided to send any troops to deal with him. They thought this. Forgive me if I'm misquoting any names here. Thomas Edison at one point would have thought, this light bulb thing gonna be the next wave, dog. And I'm sure they were haters thinking, no, this is a waste of time, don't do it. No, this is foolishness. This guy's crazy, he's going crazy. But the fact is, in both instances of Osama bin Laden and Thomas Edison, is that these people had opinions and they executed their opinions, and the world is either in a better place or a worse place because of that. What does that mean? America is now or currently understood to have the most powerful, what do you want to call it? The most powerful army in the world. Popular social media says this. Due to Thomas Edison's devotion and conviction in his process of, yo, I'm going to create this light bulb. We now have lights in the house. We now have LED lights that change from this color to that color, RGB. We have screens with millions and millions of pixels backed by lights. We have electricity running from here to there to all over the place. We have power plants powering fucking... You know what I mean? I don't mean to cuss there, but yeah. But nonetheless, this is based, or these things were based on opinions. So, considering the fact that the world is run on opinions, I find it disheartening that in our personal lives, be it boyfriend, girlfriend, workmates, just friend groups or whatever. And I mean, this doesn't happen all the time, but there are so much disagreements between friends, family, acquaintances, to the point where the disagreements is actually detrimental. People getting shoot for stuff, people getting stabbed for stuff, people getting shunned, kicked out the family, if you want to put that in air quotes, because of opinions, which is insane to me. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and their lives will be shaped around those opinions. And we just need to understand that. I don't think that is impossible. If you understand, alright, think of this. If somebody comes to you and say, yo, I love spaghetti because spaghetti tastes cheesy, and your response is, but spaghetti doesn't taste cheesy, spaghetti just tastes like raw spaghetti. And their response is, no, it tastes cheesy. And you're like, no, that's impossible. What does you, or in your mind, you fighting down this individual to justify your opinion on something or your experience on something from a non-empirical evidence perspective? You not being in the other person's shoes is insane. If this person, for whatever reason, believes that, yo, spaghetti by itself tastes cheesy, alright, cool, enjoy it, and you leave them as is. You do not need to justify to this individual that, yo, because I see this way, you also need to see it this way and act accordingly. That is insane. No. We could get very technical with this conversation. Technical to the point where, we could justify certain ill actions, but what I also want everybody to understand is that the basis of this is that you could do so long as you please once it isn't hurting anybody. Strongly believe that.